Hello everyone and welcome to another video. So recently the Mirror released an article alleging that the Celestial Toymaker will be the next missing story to get animated, to tie in for the Toymaker's return in the third 60th anniversary special, The Giggle. But could this be true? Well, I don't think it's impossible. Based on what I can remember of the story, it wouldn't be too difficult for them to do. But if it is the very next one, wouldn't that go against another article by the Mirror that was released at the start of this year saying that the smugglers would be next? Well, possibly, yes, but maybe they're doing both. We know from recent comments made at the BFI screening of the Underwater Menace that there are two teams working on the animations again, so it might not be impossible that we might get both announced and released very soon. Then again, the thing about the smugglers could also have been all a ruse set up by the BBC to hide the fact that the Toymaker was coming back for the 60th, and to not reveal that they were planning on an animation of his first televised fight against the Doctor to tie into it. I for one would love to see both stories getting animated if that is indeed the case. I know some fans feel a little disappointed that they chose to go with the Underwater Menace rather than something that would feel more special for the 60th, and them animating the Celestial Toymaker would probably feel more special. We'll obviously have to treat all of this with a massive pinch of salt until we get official confirmation though. Getting back to what else was said at the BFI, here's what Paul Hembury, executive producer for the animations, had to say according to a Radio Times article. Speaking at a BFI screening of the latest animation, The Underwater Menace, executive producer Paul Hembury confirmed there are plans for more, indicating that the ambition is to complete the canon and cover off all of the missing stories. As long as there's an audience out there who want to see them, then we will endeavour to continue, Hembury said. However, he cautioned, the DVD and Blu-ray market isn't getting any bigger and it was a significant contributor to the financing that we used to make these. So it's really incumbent upon us to say, okay, if we're going to be seeing less revenue from that source, we need to be able to replace it, and more, because our budgets have gone up pretty significantly. So we just need to be able to make it balance out. Despite confirming that at least one more animation is in the works, Hembury wouldn't be drawn on which story was next on the slate, despite rumours that 1966 serial The Smugglers could be in the offing. I would love to be able to say yes, I can't at this stage. We don't have a 5-10 year plan to work through, we do them one at a time. In all truth, I don't know whether we'll ever get to a situation where we've done every single one. But there is something coming. Hembury and the Underwater Menace animation director Anne-Marie Walsh did however touch on how they decide which lost stories to animate, explaining that the selection process is quite complicated, with the length of the stories, the quality of the surviving audio and animated challenges posed by the story all being taken into account. Of the 14 stories to be animated since 2006, 11 have been stories featuring Troughton's second Doctor, though Hembury and Walsh hinted that fans can expect more restorations featuring William Hartnell as the first Doctor in future. If we can keep going, then we'll be a little more diverse in terms of the stories we select, said Hembury. We weren't necessarily trying to complete the Troughton series, but it made sense to do that as long as the sound was good enough and the stories made sense within the budgets we had and everything else, added Walsh. But that doesn't mean that we're only going to do Troughton stories, or we're going to do all the Troughton stories first. We are open to whatever makes sense. I think all of this is completely fair enough, and it's great to hear a bit more about how they choose which stories to animate, as well as them hoping to make animations for all of the missing episodes. It's not exactly any new information, but it is still interesting and reassuring nonetheless. Some more Hartnells would be great, as it has been pretty Troughton focused so far, not that I'm complaining, as Patrick Troughton is my favourite Doctor. If you had to ask me what I think would be the most likely stories to get animated next, here's how I would rank them, from the most likely to the least. Number 1, The Smugglers and/or the Celestial Toymaker. Like I said earlier, it's currently a bit of a weird situation with these two, so I'll just put them together in case we end up getting both very soon. 2, The Savages. It's a relatively easy story to do as far as I know, so I could see us getting this one sometime in the not too distant future. Number 3, The Wheel in Space and/or The Space Pirates. I've put these two together as I'm not too sure which one they would do first, as both of them would be a little more challenging, I think, at least compared to the other ones I've mentioned so far. I know the audio quality for the Space Pirates isn't exactly the greatest, but beyond that, it's not the trickiest story for them to animate. At least, I don't think so anyway. As for The Wheel in Space, they did obviously animate a small part of episode 1 in the past, but I believe things have been said that it wouldn't be completely smooth sailing to animate, although it's still definitely not the hardest one for them to do. Number 4, The Mythmakers. I can't remember whether this has a lot of characters and settings, so I'm going to place it roughly in the middle. I don't believe it would be one of the most challenging though. Number 5, The Crusade / The Massacre / The Highlanders. These will be a lot more tricky for them to do, mainly due to just how many characters and sets they have, and in the case of the Highlanders, the amount of tartan it has, apparently. They aren't the most difficult to animate though. That special distinction goes to number 6, Marco Polo / The Daleks Master Plan. Yeah, I don't think any of you will be surprised by this. It'll take the animators ages to work on these, due to the number of episodes, characters and sets they both have. I honestly think these will be the last stories to ever get animated. We'll probably be waiting ages yet for it to happen. Obviously there's the matter of Mission to the Unknown as well, but they could just release the recreation that the University of Central Lancashire did back in 2019 rather than animate it. Or they might animate it anyway and release it alongside the Daleks Master Plan. I doubt they'd release it on its own after all, as that would be a bit silly. In other news, we might possibly be getting some of the missing episode soundtracks on BBC Sounds. The wording on the official page for it is a bit vague though, and it only says 3 adventures starring the first 2 Doctors. So don't expect all of them to be on there just yet. I wonder which 3 they've chosen. And I should probably mention the whole situation surrounding An Unearthly Child not being added to BBC iPlayer. It is a real shame that we won't have all the surviving episodes on there, at least for the time being, but I'm sure the whole situation will be resolved eventually. And speaking of BBC iPlayer, K9 and Company will now be added to it as well. So good news for anyone who likes it, I guess. I have pretty mixed thoughts on it personally. But anyway, so there's my thoughts on all of this classic series related news. But what do you think about all of this? Please let me know in the comments section below. Anyway, so thanks for watching, hope you liked it. Please don't forget to press that subscribe button below, as well as press the bell icon at the side of it, so that you'll stay notified of when all my new videos come out. This channel currently has 1,464 subscribers as of the time of writing and recording this video. But if we can get to 2,500 by the end of this year, then I will do another Q&A. where you can ask me whatever questions you want. Just keep them polite, please. Also, please rate and comment below your thoughts on all of this. And please feel free to donate to my Ko-fi, link in the description, or give me a YouTube super thanks below, if you want to, of course. And I shall see you all in another video. So, until next time, bye bye!